Hey again, folks. Welcome back to another video. My name is Lev. For those of you who are new, I use him pronouns. If you just came from the previous video I filmed, hi again. In this video, I just wanted to do like a little reminder for LGBTIQ plus folks, some validation, some normalizing of experiences, all that good stuff. Because today I was actually talking to a friend about a struggle or experience I'm going through, like a challenge, and she really normalized the whole thing for me and helped me see it in a different light and not blame myself so much for it. And know that it's like a normal experience and it's okay to feel that way, and it's very powerful. So I decided to now I'm gonna film one for all of y'all. If you are gay, you are still valid as gay even though you might have never dated anyone. If you're a bi, you're still valid as bi, even though you may not have dated people from the same or like opposite gender. If you're pan, you're still valid as pan, even if you may never have dated anyone. It's just like, just because you're not heterosexual and may have never dated anyone in your life, it doesn't mean that you're not valid as that. You're still valid regardless of what you do. Like, your identity is still valid. You're still you. You're still valid. And anyone who says, well, how do you know? How do you know? I would say back to them, how do you know you're straight? How do you know you're cis? It's just like that. It's just, whenever I hear people say that in general, not like to me, but heard people say that other people have said that to them, it really annoys me. Because cis straight people don't get questioned about their sexual orientation or gender identity. Yet not heterosexual and trans folks get questioned for their identity, which I don't understand, and it's not fair, to be honest. This one is for the bi and pan folks out there. Just because you may be dating or in a relationship with someone of a different gender to you, it doesn't mean that your bi or pan identity is like gone just because you're in a heterosexual relationship. As in, if you're a man, you're dating a woman. If you're a woman, you're dating a man. It doesn't mean that you are straight. It does, like, unless you come to realize your own identity and that you realize that you may not be bi or pan. That's okay as well, but that's a different story. It's okay to realize and learn things about yourself, but it's also okay if you date someone of the opposite or different gender and that you're still bi and pan. It doesn't mean that you're like straight. Like, dating someone of the opposite gender does not like invalidate your identity as being a bi or pan person. For the trans and gender diverse folks out there, I want you to know that you are still valid as trans and gender diverse and whatever identity you are. Basically, you're not invalid just because you may not have socially transitioned yet or undergone medical transition, or even if you may not want to go undergo medical transition and just feel comfortable with social transition. Whatever you do or don't do, it doesn't mean that you are more valid or less valid as trans. We're all valid. Your experiences are valid. You are valid as a person. Your identity is valid regardless of what you do or not do. I don't know what. It's like the assumption that trans people have to medically transition to be valid as trans, and no, that's not true. Even if you just social transition and that makes you happy and you live the best life you can from just socially transitioning and you don't want to medically transition, that's okay as well. You're still trans. If you're trans, you are trans. It doesn't make you less valid just because you may not be doing medical transition. Or if you, for some reason, it's okay as well if you don't want to socially transition but just want to medically transition. Like, for example, you don't want to change your name, or you feel comfortable being referred to by a specific pronoun, and you just medically transition to help you feel better and more you in your own body. That's okay as well. And I think with the pronouns thing, just because someone, say for example, if someone is a trans man who feels comfortable using she her pronouns, it doesn't make this person less valid as a trans man. I think pronouns are like a expression of your identity. It's like who you are, but it doesn't define your trans identity. Just like how some trans men can be feminine and trans women can be masculine, but it doesn't mean that they are not trans men and trans women. I think that's the same pronouns. If you're a trans woman who feels comfortable being referred to as he, him pronouns more than she, her, that doesn't make you less valid as a trans woman. If you're a trans man who likes being referred to by she, her, and not he, him, that's okay as well. I don't know what I said previously. I have to watch the footage again. I didn't want to confuse myself. And for transgender diverse folks, continued, um, you don't have to do all of the things to make you valid as trans. Like, if you like the name you are assigned at birth and you don't want to change your name, again, that doesn't make you like invalid as trans. If you undergo some aspects of medical transition, but not like do the full transition, as in hormones and all of the gender affirming surgeries, again, it doesn't make you less valid as trans. Like, for me, if I just go on HRT and get top surgery, but don't get lower surgery, it doesn't mean I'm less valid as a trans man. I'm still a trans man either way, regardless of whether I medically transition or not. I'm reiterating a lot of things, but I think it's very important to say, especially to like break the misconceptions and stigma out there. No, you don't have to medically transition to be valid as trans. You don't. You simply don't. You're still you either way, regardless of what you do and don't do. I also want to say that while gender dysphoria is not certainly not like a pleasant experience, it's okay to experience it. Like, you don't have to deny your experiences or suppress it and be like, no, I don't have gender dysphoria, I'm not experiencing gender dysphoria. It's okay to experience gender dysphoria. It's okay to experience the different emotions and psychological changes and everything that comes with gender dysphoria. It's okay to experience all of those things. It doesn't mean that you're less than human. It doesn't make you this. You are not dysphoria. You're a human being who experiences dysphoria. You're not dysphoria. It doesn't define you as a human being. Another what I think is very important to say is it's okay to continue learning about yourself and realize later down on your journey that this identity label that you have given yourself is not you. Like, before I came as trans, um I thought I was a lesbian. I lived as a lesbian. I adopted the lesbian identity because that's who I thought I was at the time. But then I came to realize that that label no longer suits me and it's not me. I thought it was me, but it's not me. And then I came out as trans. I'm like, I am a trans man. And I also came to realize that I am pansexual and panromantic. But that doesn't mean that I wasn't a lesbian. Like, that was where I was in that point in my journey. It doesn't mean that those experiences are invalid. It doesn't mean that at all. If you watch his Miles Chronicles, Miles McKenna, he's like an icon. I love him. Something he said that really resonated with me is like, it's sort of like shoe sizes. Just because I'm like a size 11 now, it doesn't mean that I wasn't a size 5. It was just something that's part of my journey. Like, Miles said that really well. That's not my quote, by the way. That's Miles. Miles's analogy, not mine. I'm not taking credit for it. It's Miles's analogy. Yeah, that, like that. Just because like I was this, it doesn't mean that it's not valid and that it wasn't a real experience. It's still a real experience. It's just it's not me anymore. And that the label that I used to describe myself and my identity no longer suits because I've learned more about myself and I'm at a different stage in my journey. And I realized it's not me, and that's okay as well. You may or may not have experienced this or may be experiencing this. I used to be scared of being wrong about my identity. That's why I was really reluctant to come out to people at first, because if I come out as something and I later realize that, oh, that's not me, that label doesn't suit me anymore, and my experiences and my identity, then people might think like it. My fear is that it reinforces the stereotype that the LGBTIQ plus is a choice, but it's not a choice. Um, that was one thing. Scared of being wrong reinforces people's ideas, and then they're like, "Oh, see, you are X," and then they think it's a choice, but it's not. I'm gonna say it again. It's okay to adopt a specific label and who you think you are, or who you know you are at that time. And then if you go along your journey and realize this isn't me, I thought it was me, but this label isn't really me, I'm actually this other thing. What by thing I mean, I'm this other identity. Like, I'm not, I thought I was cis, but I'm not cis. Or I thought I was bi, but I'm actually gay. Or I thought I was gay, but I'm actually bi or pan. Or I'm actually asexual. Whatever identity it might be, it's okay to, like, again, realize a different point in your life. And it doesn't mean that your past experiences were invalid at all. I hope that helps somebody. Again, as I usually say, if my videos or this video you're watching helps at least one other human being out there, then I'm happy. Make a difference to one person's life, I'm happy. It's, I mean, if it touches more people, then that's better. But even at least one person, I'll be happy. That's all, folks. Stay safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.